Hi, welcome to the Writer's Room. I'm Julia. Today I was going to read you a story. It's a short story that I wrote, and it is it's about imagery and foreshadowing. There's also a flashback in it, and I'm writing it in a way where the foreshadowing is going to lead you to an inevitable outcome. I hope you like it. It's called It's a Hard Rain Gonna Fall. It was a Monday morning. The rain had just started pebbling in at a slant, cold and sharp, the kind that stings on warm skin. Scout had found herself walking a dirt path leading up to a soggy hill near the edge of town, near the edge of the lake. She was on her way to see about a job. It's been her conviction to get herself employed, save money, and get herself out of these hills with old faces. Scout, a girl of 19, not particularly attractive, but amicably well received in her little village town. She happens to be walking here when she comes upon a sitting man, cross-legged and perched at the top of a large boulder. He was still, but not ominously bothered by Scout's appearance. "Are you a lost girl?" asked the sitting man. Scout bends her neck upwards to meet his questioning eyes. Water dripping from the brim of her hooded hat falls to her mouth. One drop clung to her bottom lip like a tear daring to fall. "No, I'm not," says Scout. The sitting man holds up his hands, palms open, as if he were holding back traffic for her to pass. Scout courteously nods her head and with a wave of her hand walks on. Scout inspects her surroundings and presses on away from the sitting man. That the man was out in the woods did not concern her, but she noted he hadn't any hat or coat to protect herself from these elements, worried her. The rain had already been soaking through her yellow slicker, but she was warm inside its plastic cocoon. Scout thought to herself, her life has been an unsurmountable compilation of misfortunate events. As an infant, her first dark cloud event was when she had been dumped off on an unmowed lawn of a poor old woman. Scout had laid there for many hours unnoticed and untouched till a curious dog found her and barked and howled incessantly. The dogs. Her mind clears, she focuses on the path ahead. She walks deeper and deeper into the woods. Now the rain falls with more of a purpose. Big, heavy drops descend with force and sting like needles on her face. She starts to shiver. All around her, little rivulets of streams begin to flow with intent down the hilled, wooded path, carrying with it stones and fragmented leaves flowing effortlessly. For Scout, each step becomes a test to stay upright on the sloppy hill. As she comes to a corner that banks a hard right, looming nearby is a hung cliffside. Suddenly, Scout slips and begins to slide down it. Her shoes have become gum muddy and come out from underneath her. She falls hard and begins to be pulled swiftly down to the looming edge. Mud, leaves, and forest debris scratches and cakes her body as she slides down and further down still. The man who has been sitting tirelessly for hours was moved, too, either by the torrid rain or sheer loneliness on his meditative rock. He stands, he stretches his limbs, which extend to great lengths at all angles. He appears slim and fit, but he wears little clothing save for an ill pair of tight jean shorts and a loosely fitted long-sleeved shirt. The one perhaps someone would buy at a rock concert. Its slack sleeves hang dripping at the cuffs. The letters of a band name roughly seen on his chest read Roll Stone. The wet of it sucks closely to his skin. He bends slightly and jumps from his perched place. Once on the ground, his body looms gravely tall against the trees and shrubs around him. He rubs his cool face and runs a hand over his short-cropped gray hair. He was overcome with a need to move. For what? No one knows. He starts down onto the path that Scout had used several hours before. Trotting through the mud and water, barefooted rain beats against his thin, unwavering body. As he easily glides through the storm, he is not unencumbered at all by the onslaught of this torrid weather. When he steps, the mud squelches and squirms and slides under his feet. But it does not slow his pace. He is deliberate and infiltrating. He walks on. The downpour had begun to wane a bit, ever so slightly. Its torrentialness becomes just a pattering shower. It becomes gentler and fluid warm. But darkness grows near. Scout, after being hurled mercilessly over and off the path straddling the cliff, had to cleave to the edge of an outcropping, holding on to its dirty roots. Feet dangling, arms crimped into its rooted ledge, Scout waits. For what she knows none other than she always knows, which is a compilation of unfortunate events. But she's not letting go. The sitting man is dangerously close to coming upon the place that Scout has so quickly veered off from. He slows his stride as he begins to descend the hill. The rains have washed out the marked path and made it cavernous and jagged. The man has to sidestep his way down. He appears as if he were on a sheet of ice, and that at any moment he could lose his footing. Perhaps from his enormous height, the world appears so very far down. He might have a story to tell, but no one knows. The air had become thick, with moisture so thick that a heavy fog moves in and over the hill next to the lake by the little town that a not particularly attractive girl clings to by her meager, jobless life, by her small hands at the edge of a path, well washed out from a hard rain that fell. As the mountainously large and tall, once sitting man reaches the precipice on the jagged path down, he stops, ever so smartly. And at that moment, at that very instant, he stands dead still. So still he could feel his exaggerated heartbeat in his body pounding. And there was the faintest of a sound, almost bird-like, but more like a hummingbird wings flapping ever so peacefully in his ear. At this moment, he closes his eyes and appreciates the beautiful sound. He opens his eyes. The once sitting man who now stands over the cliff which Scout cleaves to with all her life opens his eyes and looks down into Scout's and asks, ever so honestly, "Are you a lost girl here?" Scout, being so stuck and so caught in the roots and sharp edges of the rooted cliff, replies with an acceptance, "Yes, I was." I hope you enjoyed that. It was a really fun thing to write, to not just try to rhyme, but have such good visual of water, the woods, the path, rocks, things that go up and down. And with Scout, I wanted to show how her life has taken a path of so many misfortunate events. And someone as large and ominous as the sitting man can be just sitting there so peacefully with nothing, no shoes on his feet, no reason to be there. But he felt a calling, and he felt a calling to save her life. And that from that moment on, perhaps Scout's life would no longer be a series of misfortunate events. Thank you for listening today. Please know that I would really like you to always think good thoughts and say good words and to do good deeds. Because when we do good things for people, it not only helps them, it helps yourself more. When you say good words and you think about your words before you let them fly out of your mouth, it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference every day in every way. That's got to begin with thinking good thoughts in your head. You got to use everything you have to always push out the negative, bring in the positive. Ask for help when you need it. Talk to your friends and your family. And I'd really like you to, I hope you're back next week. If you have any questions for me, just leave me your name, where you're from, and your question. I'll try to answer it next week. Thank you very much.